Hey everybody, welcome back to Ready Steady Play. We're
Hi
just
guys.
going to go through our final thoughts on Civilization The New Dawn, which
Mhm.
Michael here has just won.
Oh my god. How did
Oh
that
my
happen?
Indeed. Well, I'll tell you how it happened.
You did lots of mistakes.
I did. Oh, well, to be fair, I actually made a lot of mistakes, and that was something I was going to talk about because... But first off, overall, what did you think of it?
I really liked it.
You really liked it.
I do. I would definitely. If you were to say to me, "Oh, hey Michael, do you want to play Civilizations again?" I would say yes. Actually, I'm jumping the gun quite a bit into this is the start of the episode, but
Yeah, but I think it's interesting to then go down and break it down, especially if you sort of have your starting standpoint right after the game, which is I would definitely play it again. I'm a lot more conflicted, I think. I would definitely like to play it again. In fact, I feel like I need to play it again.
oh really? To counteract all those silly mistakes that you did.
Yeah, I made a lot of silly mistakes. I think...
But do you know why I think you made silly mistakes? Because I made silly mistakes as well.
is it because I stay up all night editing videos?
That could be a factor.
Because that's definitely... I feel like that definitely had a impact on my performance.
Whereas, well, definitely, because you would have probably been able to be a lot more receptive to this knowledge that you need to pay attention to things. There is a lot to remember.
There's a lot to remember. That's
And
actually...
I think
yeah.
if you're playing this for the very first time, that is one of the limitations of it, and that is how mistakes can happen.
But Michael, we played like 4 turns before we played today, so we were well experienced.
That's true. It's like we were pros.
We were pros.
So yes, and there is you need your strategy, but then you need to like try and remember what that strategy is.
I don't know what you're getting at.
And then there's so much to remember. It's like,
but I can
yes,
pinpoint.
you need to remember what each of the cards do. You need to remember how each of the cities help you. You need to remember how each of the wonders help you. You need to remember what your personal, like your character, can help you. There is just a lot to remember.
There's a lot to remember, but ultimately, the game is a race to achieve these victory points, right? These final goals.
Yeah.
It's ultimately a race of who can optimize the race course the most efficiently in order to achieve the end goal. And there's actually quite a lot of opportunity to throw out obstacles into your opponent's path to retard their progress.
I don't think we did that much.
I don't think we did it that much, but I'll tell you what, I threw a lot of obstacles into my own path that retarded my progress.
Oops.
Forgetting about Petra and losing new old St. Michaelsburg
Yeah.
was problematic because then I spent time rebuilding it, and that took at least a turn or two to reacquire it. I had to kill the Barbaran, or maybe you did that, I can't remember.
No, you did that.
The other thing I was going to say was when I didn't spend the points to take out Geneva, and that was a mistake I made because I was greedy, but that still cost me many turns of progress. But I think also not taking the nuclear weapon at the end of the game, which could have just wiped out whole sections of your control tokens, was also a big mistake. Not reinforcing my control tokens might have been a mistake too, and there were plenty of opportunities
for you to do that. I think
I think that was one of the things that enabled me to get a lead, was that I didn't spend time with my military doing that. But the other thing was I was not optimal with my wonders at all. Like, I built 2 wonders here, which means I've achieved both the victory conditions on this card.
Yeah.
I
purposefully didn't go for blue because I'm like, oh well, I'm clearly ranching up the tech
science anyway. Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I bother going for blue? I might as well go for red and yellow.
And obviously, I achieved warmongering here, and then I'm 1 wonder away from achieving paranoid. And actually, the wonders I wanted were the same color as the ones I had, and So I don't know how much I care for that, because it makes me feel like a lot of my choices are being defined by what's on these cards, and not
with what you want.
Cool combo strategies. Like, I'm not buying wonders because what they give me is valuable strategically in the game, but simply because they will.
You're trying to achieve a victory condition.
Yeah, they'll make up the victory conditions there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean.
I think that could have been very different though if there had been more players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that decision might have been taken out of your hands if more players are vying for the same, because that might have made you not bother. Like say if one of the wonders had gone to a different player, because I decided not to do that, but then if someone else was playing and they decided to go for this blue wonders, then maybe that would have changed your whole tack.
Well, what's interesting to me actually is I've got 4 of my 5 cards here on tech level 4 because of the porcelain tower.
Yes.
And that's really potent. But it wasn't actually that powerful.
I thought don't really rate the
tech level 4s.
Tech level 4s at all. Which honestly, is why I wanted to keep nationalism. I think is great. I was like, there is no way I'm getting rid of nationalism.
What as opposed to urbanization?
Yeah, because and I'll tell you why. Because the tack that I went for in trying to go for the wonders helped me rather than going for building the towns.
I agree with you too. I think that it's very misleading that imagining that the level 4s
is better than the level 3.
Yeah,
agreed. Which is why I didn't. And I think the civil service at level 3 is better.
But I don't actually. I think
culture at 3. Sorry.
That's actually a criticism I have of the game. Like, it should not be the case that advancing your technology
inhibits you.
Yeah, inhibits you.
Or puts you down a particular path in order to win.
Now, if the technology was presented as a branching tree, I would not have this complaint. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it's presented numerically in an ascending order means that it's misleading and confusing. And that's going to be a problem for new players. That's something I'm going to have to remember to explain if I'm teaching someone the game. Look closely at what these powers are. It may be that advancing them to the end is not ideal, and actually getting 4 technologies to rank 4 and mathematics to rank 2, and it's not really that important, and it's not going to get you any points on the it's not going to count for anything in the end of the game. No. Obviously in the video game, if you advance all your techs to sort of maximum level, you can start building a spaceship and go and colonize another planet, and that's one of the ways to win the game. It's the science victory.
Yeah.
But in this, there doesn't seem to be a science victory. There is this, which involves maxing out the science dial, but this doesn't feel like an accomplishment, really.
No.
In the same...
It seems a bit easy.
It felt very easy.
I mean...
of all of the victory conditions, this was the one we completed first. Yeah. Well, actually, no, warmongering was the one I completed first, but...
that's because you concentrated on trying to build your military.
But that's the other thing that I'm coming around to. I did not like the combat system at all. Not only is it fiddly and annoying to work out and remember all the parts.
Oh my god, you were just reeling off numbers to me, and I was like, "What on earth are you saying?" I was sat here confused.
But also the dice, I feel, adds too much variance. And yeah, you can just repeat it sort of over and over until you succeed. But it's a real, like I said, it's a race, and it's a real opportunity to waste time, and you might not succeed. And to be fair with Geneva, I got greedy, and then I actually paid an enormous price for being a bit greedy. But, it doesn't feel coherent with the rest of the game for me.
Mm-hmm. A bit clunky.
Because there's a lot I really, really like about this game. I like expanding out on the board. I like the little cities. I like the art on the board, and the way that looks.
Do you know what I think is absolutely hilarious? That the wagon is ginormous. It's like for a giant compared to it's like invading the city.
But I don't mind that. But
I know, but I think
it's quite funny. It's quite funny. I like the barbarian mechanic and the event mechanic. I like that they sort of respawn and then move around. It would have been nice, I think, if they moved a little further.
Now I thought they would have more. I mean, they were quite. They were a little bit rubbish to you, even though they shouldn't have been. I don't really feel like they pestered me that much, apart from my cards.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's maybe something I should have been more conscious of because of, or like mitigated for with my original deployment, or maybe I should have just tried to build control tokens on their spaces. But I did seem to get more unlucky with them. Having said that, part of the problem was I bought Petra at the beginning, and I was thinking I basically now don't need to worry about them. And then, of course, I forgot about it, and then that cost me turns that lost me the game.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, that's a gross oversimplification, but it's one way of looking at it.
It's true. It's because I felt sometimes that my strategy that I was trying to go for, I just felt like I was going through the motions, and you could have easily, and you did at one point when you were trying to like get rid of my things down here, was like knocking me off kilter because I'd just got this plan, and I was like, right, I'm going with this plan, and I hadn't really developed a plan B, and so I got stuck in this sort of like path that I'd not really built an alternative strategy for, and so I think sometimes your turn order can be limited by not thinking more strategically, and I think that can be limiting. But then I think that can be limiting if you've not upgraded, because I never upgraded the military for ages because I wasn't interested in it. But then if I'd been more aggressive with the military, I might have been able to get these edge tiles a lot sooner.
I mean, I think the Ruhr Valley is incredible, and
that is
it really sort of takes just one aspect of the game, like the military, and kind of nullifies it. Not because what it does is it makes what is already a high variance, potentially worthless endeavor even less likely. I really disliked the dice on the military mechanic.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could have done it differently, but
do you feel that because you kept getting ones, or would you still feel that like if you'd got sixes?
But then you would have felt bad, and I think I would have felt like it was kind of a cheap victory.
Yeah.
Like it's like what were we playing where you kept in Root.
Yes.
That it didn't feel. I mean, actually, do you know what? It felt a bit better in Root, and I'll tell you why it felt a bit better in Root, because it didn't feel as critical.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas in this, the combat felt like it could really define
how the game ends.
Whereas in Root, it was more and also because you were the Marquise de Cat and you had that ability to sort of recuperate your soldiers by discarding cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of helped. But also the variance was much lower. Like even the highest possible variance was 0 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here the highest possible variance is like 1 and 6. And at the start of the game, that's enormous. And at the start of the game is potentially when it's going to be the most effective.
Yeah.
But also right at the end when everything hangs on like one city or 2 control points or something.
Yeah, I did feel like I probably had a really big advantage with having the Gilgamesh character, because that enabled me to not have to wait to get the nationalism higher up the chart. So that saved me some turns with collecting the...
But I feel like Roosevelt's moving around to the national things could have been... I mean, I probably could have leveraged it maybe a bit more effectively than I did. But I feel like I probably didn't really play into that strength at all. I kind of wanted to sort of explore different things, and my lack of direction, I think, in the game was more of me exploring the different aspects of the game. Like I was never intending to go to war with the city-states. That's why I bought Petra, because that's already halfway there. But then I sort of saw the potential for getting more cities out that way, and I thought it might be fun to try it out. Honestly, I didn't like the combat mechanics, and attacking Geneva wasted an entire turn for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not just wasting an entire turn. I mean, I think this is what the most frustrating thing about the combat mechanic is that, there comes a point where it's worthless unless it's in like your 4 or 5 slot. And so it's not just wasting a turn, it's wasting like
3 or 4 to get it.
Yeah, to get it back up.
Yeah.
And I think that's what frustrated me the most. If you wipe out on those rolls, then you're wasting like four or five turns. And not only that, you've telegraphed your plan to your opponent, who can now take steps to mitigate it while you're trying to get back up there.
True.
And you may have to completely redefine your strategy, and it may only be because you rolled badly.
Which seems a bit...
I mean, you've got the trade tokens on the combat card that you can spend to improve your dice roll, and that was definitely my fault when I attacked Geneva. I should have just spent those and taken it. And the reason I didn't, I think, was I think I wanted to maybe get Brussels in the same attack or something like that, and I just got greedy.
Yeah.
I just found it frustrating, and you know.
Yeah, I get that. I think I would have felt the same. Likewise, if I'd been, because I'm normally not very lucky with dice rolls, and if you were getting all the sixes and I were getting all the ones, I'd feel exactly the same way.
And I think there's definite potential for that, which is I think problematic. But what I did really like was choosing these things.
Yes.
I would have liked, I guess, I like that they're all sort of different, and I like that the technologies are different, and I like that they give you different things, and you kind of sort of have to choose which ones you want. I dislike...
Depending on the strategy that you're going for.
Yeah, like I said, I dislike that there's the appearance of one just being better than the other, and it's not necessarily the case. And actually what I would have liked to see was maybe a bit more complexity to this deck and branching options, rather than having... 1, 2, 3, 4, which seems misleading, to just have sort of like different branches on the tree, 3A and 3B or something.
Yeah.
A bit more intuitive to that, and then that would also have I would have liked to see that might have indicated sort of more different paths you could sort of develop these actions into.
Makes sense.
I don't think that would have added... I think the game's already complex enough that I don't think that would have tipped it over the edge in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't actually change any of these cards and just sort of had one, I mean, because the thing is, you don't even have to go up numerically anyway, right? Like if you're going up the science track, I mean, you do go up numerically in the sense that you go
round in 2, 3, 4, but you don't necessarily have to do the science to 2, the science to 3, the science to 4. You can literally do culture, industry, and then when you get to the 4th, go straight from 1 to 4.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Science.
But the fact that this is also sequential sort of compounds the fact that you'd think that the 4s are better, which is exactly what I sort of assumed. And that's why I went and made the effort to get the Porcelain Tower, which I've just realized I don't think I've placed on the board anywhere.
Probably not, but that's it, isn't it?
Did I have that on the board at any point?
Probably not, but you had loads of...
I don't think it would have made any difference.
I don't think it would have made any difference.
It would have been one of these two.
One of these two, exactly. So
my bad. So sorry about that. So, but that's another little thing that we forgot about. There's a lot of little bits to remember. I mean, having said that, I would like to play it again, especially now that I have the knowledge of how it works. But
I think it would be a lot easier to... I think you'd play it a lot faster, or maybe a lot differently.
Maybe. I mean, I think...
Maybe not if you were playing with new people.
Yeah. Do you know what else I would like to see? Maybe like if you had a way to sort of go back down.
Oh right. I see.
To go up and then go back down. It bothers me that you can only go up
way.
and then it's not necessarily better. And you have to be aware of that. And I don't see this as the kind of game that I'm going to break out with. Like if I was sitting down with a bunch of people who was like super hobby gamers and really, really into the hobby and really wanted a deep strategy game.
You wouldn't break this out.
Yeah. I wouldn't break this out, and I wouldn't break it out because of the combat.
Yeah. They would find that.
I think they would find that frustrating.
Do you think it's a bit too complicated to just get out with average gamers as well then?
Yeah,
I do.
It's kind of...
It fits in that middle...
Funny niche, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you and I could play this quite happily, I think. I think it's kind of a fun, sort of quirky game. I'd be quite happy to play this with you.
Yeah. I think you need the audience for this needs to be someone who has experience of playing board games, but isn't like a serious hobby gamer that could get frustrated with it.
Yeah, who is that? You and me.
Do they exist?
But I mean, I think as well, like though, if we sat down to play, say, Gaia Project, or even Clans of Caledonia, we might have a more rewarding experience in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of
there's not as many elements based on pure roll of a die, basically.
Yeah, that combat is. But maybe I just had a bad experience with it this time around.
Maybe.
And I might find that it evens out. But yeah, that technology thing is so weird. Like, flight is so much clearly better than all the other combats. Flight, like,
so
number
stronger.
4, is clearly better than the other 3 combat ones. And then you've got, like, the science number 4, which is radically different to the other sciences.
Mm-hmm.
Radically different. It's very aggressive.
It is like it's like a military style one, isn't it?
Yeah, and I should have taken that, and I didn't because I thought it would be miserable.
Just wiped out.
Well, you just pick, like, I would just pick this spot, and then you would lose all of these control tokens to the nuclear blast, and these 2 would go back into regular ones. And then using my Oracle, I could ratchet it back up to the top of the queue again. And what I could have done was prevented you from getting the Explorer winning condition that way quite easily, I think.
Yeah.
And that would have been frustrating for you, and it would have been...
It's a very powerful card.
It's a very powerful card, but also it doesn't really fit in with the other with mathematics, which is like, get a token that helps, which makes sense as well for science. To put this down on nothing, and it makes sense that nuclear explosions are in the science track, or nuclear technologies in the science track.
But it's actual mechanic, I suppose. The actual thing that you do with it, it doesn't.
Well, it feels like one of the military techs
Exactly.
in the game that's because it's aggressive, and that's also because nuclear bombs are military tech. And in the what you get in the Civilization video game is all these interweaving paths, right?
Right.
So there's not like. This is the science thing. In Civilization, the video game, it's probably even more challenging because you don't have and I'm talking about sort of Civ 2 and 4, which are the ones I'm really familiar with. So if this changed in 5 and 6, I apologize. But the tracks were not dedicated to any one sort of facet of your civilization. There were ones that helped with culture and helped with science and were very obviously fit into those camps. But the game never said, these are your culture ones, and these are your science ones, and these are your military ones.
Yeah.
And in that way, this doesn't do that either, but it does, because it's like, here's your science, and here's your economy, and here's your culture. But your ultimate science tech actually is worthless for science because you can't upgrade your science anymore. It's done when you get there, and it's only good for sort of military and board control.
Yeah.
And I get it, because in the end game, what you want to be doing is taking your opponent's control points off the board and having upgraded science. But why does this dial have to end? I feel like
it needs to go further higher. It needs to match what you come with the cards, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the game feels like it's got a weird mashup of things that are sort of really things that are really sort of strategic and well defined, and things that are really abstract. And the abstract stuff feels more abstract because of how well defined the other things are.
That makes sense.
But it's sort of what I'm doing here is I'm nitpicking things that are, complaints about it. I mean, one of the things I really like about the game, certainly at the start, and we did play the Epic version, and I think the game would have been over a lot quicker. I think the Epic version is too long. Definitely should have played with 3 victory kit cards. We just wanted to sort of make sure we experienced sort of as much of the game as possible, and we wanted to get the content for the channel and stuff like that. But
There's no need, really, is there?
I don't feel like adding the extra victory condition added
Any
any value to the game, really.
Apart from its length.
Yeah, apart from making it longer and potentially making it a lot longer if you got sort of into the planes and the blowing up of things. But I also feel like, do you know what else what I liked was how quickly the actions were, especially at the start.
You literally, it's like boom, 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 boom.
And actually, do you know what I didn't like was all of the cards, like your stupid Venetian Arsenal and Capitalism, which were like, do two. Because it's like, it takes one of the things I liked about the game, which was to be quick and punchy, and then slow it down. And it's like, now you're doing it twice, and you've got to think about that, and you've got to imagine it's in slot one, and try and look where you can benefit from that. And suddenly it's like a whole bunch of analysis you've got to do on taking another action, especially
on
Capitalism.
On top of everything else that you've got to think about.
Yeah, and the game gets so much heavier towards the end anyway. I really felt like that slowed the game down in a bad way, where one of the things I really liked about it was how punchy it was.
Yeah. Definitely, I totally agree. Particularly at the start, it was literally your go, my go, your go, my go, my go.
And I hope a lot of that would be solved by playing it with just 3 victory conditions.
I agree. And if you've got, and what will happen quite quickly is if you had more players, I think. I think that would slow the victory conditions down potentially, because 2 people would concentrate on each other, and one person might be able to get the things a little bit faster. But yeah, it would still, I think if you had 3 players, it would still make it quite fast. It would still be your go, my go, your my go.
So there's only but that's what I mean. Like, I think actually it would scale up quite well with a number of players. Although I've heard that the game is sort of open to player conflicts, sort of creating a scenario where someone might get a big lead. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I haven't had that experience, so I can't really attest to it. But I do think because of how punchy the actions are, certainly for the first half of the game, it would scale up quite well. Yeah. But these are 4 of the 5 victory cards available in the game. And if you look at the top half of the cards, this Explorer condition, you really attain that through your industry card. Technophile, that's attained through your science card. Warmonger has to be done through the military card, really. And Civilized here, I guess that's also the industry card, because you're building cities. But Explorer can also be supported by the culture card. Maybe it's more culture, I don't know. But one thing I didn't like is that all of these alternate options at the bottom
were the wonders.
All industry card.
Yeah.
All of them industry card. So we've got 5 conditions here that are kind of attained with the industry card, and 3 that aren't.
Yeah.
And that's
too heavy in one.
That makes one card feel way more important than all the other cards. Mm-hmm. And it makes nationalism feel way better than urbanization, which is rank 4 industry.
Yeah.
Because, you can nationalism helps you build wonders, and building wonders allows you to attain. You can win the game just by building a bunch of wonders.
Yeah.
And you need cities to build the wonders in, but guess what? That's industrial card as well. And I don't know why they lean so heavily into that card for everything.
Yeah.
And if you look at the last victory card, which was in the box, which is miles away now, but it had stuff for some of the other ones on, which was nice, but it wasn't. But I still don't feel like it's enough variety.
That's a very good point, actually. I think it needs to be a lot more even. Particularly
evenly distributed.
Particularly if you're coming up with a strategy, and then if your strategy has to change, then it is not going to penalise you too much if you've set down a cost that you didn't really concentrate on the industry, and now you have to rely on it. Then you're. But
do you know what else is really funny? Like, if you're too busy building wonders with your industry card to attain, say, Civilized, which requires you to build cities, which is another thing you do with the same card. You could actually get all your cities by going to war with city-states and your opponents by getting it with military, which means you can achieve a civilized victory entirely through warfare.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
That seems kind of unintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, civilized is the name of that victory condition. Civilized.
Civilized.
Aesthetic, scholarly, paranoid, and money grubber all come from industry. But civilized can come from industry or military.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that sort of leans back into this point about how some of the stuff seems a bit abstract, and doesn't intuitively lead you into sort of different strategies and paths. You know, it's like if you're looking to get a military victory or you want to sort of focus on military stuff, you know, there's not an intuitive way to do that. You build the Red Wonders because they give you military power.
Yeah.
You buy the military upgrade, but the only way to get better military stuff is to use the science card, and there's no armies to make or anything like that. So the game doesn't really lend itself to that one thing. And I don't mind that. I don't mind diversifying your sort of strategies and having to diversify your strategies.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, the way they are all kind of manifested seems a little seems unintuitive in it.
Yeah.
A little abstract.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Is this is this reprint, did you say?
So this is I don't know if it's not a second edition because there's an original Civilization game. I don't know. I haven't played the original one actually, which is why I was quite excited to pick this one up and play it. And it's designed by James Niffen, who did Star Wars Armada, which is a sort of a deeply tactical game that requires sort of thinking ahead and planning and strategy. So I was excited to pick it up for sure. Do you know what else I didn't like? I didn't like that the one-off resources that you pick up are only useful for building wonders.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to do something else with those, you know?
A bit limiting.
Well, it just felt like it was sort of like, you know, again, like it's kind of frustrating when all of the victory conditions rely on building wonders, and here's all the resources for building more wonders, and
then you can't get any more.
Well, and then you're just waiting for your industry card to become good enough. To the 5. Yeah, and if you didn't, and if you wanted to get something like urbanization or whatever, instead of it just makes nationalism seem much better,
more powerful. Yeah.
I really like this event thing. I really liked this. I liked how you could sort of plan around it and get cool stuff out of it. There's a lot in here that I really like. I like the trading with the...
I thought the barbarians would be a little bit more powerful, actually.
The barbarians would have more impact? Yeah. Well, I mean, they fucked me up, didn't they? Even though they shouldn't have.
But then that was the roll of a dice as well.
Yep, that was on the roll of the dice, yeah. I don't mind that they moved around on the roll of the dice. I feel like it sort of forced you to take notice. Yeah. And sort of may do something about them, and if you chose to ignore them, which I did, and actually I think that was sort of frustrating about them, is that that I felt like I could choose to ignore them because it was the roll of a dice. But on the other hand, if they do then scupper you because you chose to ignore them, that's only fair.
That's only fair. Yeah.
And that feels
you made that choice.
Yeah, you made that choice. But I guess it would have been cool in a way if they sort of beeline straight for the nearest development. I mean, if they feel like they should sort of be aggressive and come and get you, right?
Yeah.
Rather than just sort of wander around randomly destroying stuff if they come across it. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I really liked the way the unique abilities of the city-states were handled. I really liked...
Like you lost them if they got destroyed.
Well, not just that, but you could send these caravans out to the city-states and attain these sort of ally...
They were great,
statuses,
particularly at the start.
You know,
for me.
And I liked that if you committed... That's what I mean. At the start of the game, when the choices were limited and we couldn't do everything, everything felt sort of interesting and like it had an impact, and there was lots of cool choices. And it wasn't towards the end of the game where we started being able to do more and more things. And
it became actually more limited.
Well, that everything felt more homogenous and less defined, and the game felt less good.
Yeah.
I definitely really liked the game for the whole first half, and things didn't start to feel bad until the second half of the game. Well, not bad, but just, I don't know, less well defined and less sort of strategic and less interesting. But it's also in the first half of the game I didn't realize the technology thing.
Yeah. So, would you play it again?
Yeah, I definitely, but I'm tenacious. like that. To be honest, actually, do you know what? To be honest, I think if we're gonna sit down and play it again, do you know what? I think I actually have better options. I think I have better alternatives.
That you would crack out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm thinking about sort of territory control and actions like The Godfather, Corleone's Empire, offers kind of a similar-ish experience.
I like that.
It's a weird kind of parallel to make because they're thematically so different, but you've still got these pieces you're putting out on the board. Yeah, you've got fewer pieces and you collect them back, whereas in this you don't.
Yeah.
There's a territory control wargame element here. But, Clans of Caledonia is not that dissimilar either. I mean, I really like this. It's the way that this deck is managed that lets this down.
Yeah. I think, to answer your questions, would I play this again? Yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
Would I buy it? No.
Yeah, I would very hesitantly say I'd play it again. And really only because I would want to see about how it changed.
Yeah.
And whether it changed significantly or if I found this experience to be similar.
I mean, I suppose I'll rephrase that question then. If you were to say to me, we are playing this, I wouldn't say no. If you were to say, would you want to play this or Godfather, then I would say The Godfather.
And I would, or what about this or Clans of Caledonia?
Yeah.
Clans?
Clans.
Yeah.
But if you brought this, say, to a house party and it was the only one that you had, I wouldn't be like, no, I'm not playing that.
Even Kingdom Builder, which is sort of just the control point placement part of this game. Yeah, I wouldn't buy it.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy it for my collection.
No. Fair enough. I don't think I would either.
Sorry, folks.
Sorry.
I really, 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 really want to like it. And I don't know.
Maybe you will. Maybe you just need to win.
Maybe I just need to win. Yeah, I'm never this negative about games except when I lose.
To you.
To you. No, but I don't. I really think that dice mechanic could be really off-putting and just ruin the game for some people.
I agree.
I agree. Maybe if they were D4s or something like that,
less.
I mean, like I like the idea of the in the final version of Root, it's going to be D12s, but they're going to have just 1, 2, 3, 0 on them. I mean, I like the concept of that. If I'd be interested to play it with the Root dice.
Yeah.
See if that changes my opinion of it.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Save the D6s for the barbarian. Cool. Well, that's it for now. I wonder if they came out with an expansion that sort of changed the technologies in some way or something. If that
you'd
be more interested.
More interested in seeing it again. Maybe they are.
Never know.
If anyone knows.
It's just come out, Michael. It's just come out. I don't think anyone knows.
Oh.
So thank you. But right, let's go play something else.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry that was a bit of a downer in the end there, I think.
It's fair to middling. Maybe a 6.
A lot of mechanics I like, but this action picking thingy, I like it. I wish that capitalism wasn't in it. I wish that Venetian Arsenal wasn't in it. It slows it down. It slows down the best
aspect of it.
One of the best aspects of the game, yeah.
Well, write him a letter. Say, oh, Ready Steady Player says this.
I'll tweet him a link to this video.
Yeah.
Clearly I'm an authority on this matter.
What do you mean they've not watched your videos?
Well, you don't subscribe. Well, yeah. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Happy New Year. Because I don't know when this is coming out.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year to you if it's after 2018.
And thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow with something entirely different.
See you soon, guys.
I don't think I realized quite how negatively I felt about that until I started talking about it.
I know, right?